Hey, bizabizow here, and yes, it's finally time for another Fixing FNAF plushies. Hip hip hooray and whatnot. Since we're doing sister location this time around, I thought I'd bring a little celebrity guest on for this one. You know, someone to help me out during the video and have fun little back and forth banter with me. That kind of wacky stuff. So everyone, say hello to Hand Unit. Yeah, turns out you can just buy a hand unit for yourself online if you want. For a decent price too. I got a really good deal on mine here. Temu is a godsend. Let me just turn him on with the remote here. Hi, hand unit, can you hear us? Hand unit, say hi to everyone. Okay, did I not activate it? Let me check the manual. Okay, so I think you... Oh, God! Stop. 7 remaining. 7 remaining. Kevin's light has opened. 7. So, sister location, huh? The FNAF game that, despite having very gay animatronic designs, somehow ended up the most homophobic looking plushies ever. I mean, am I wrong? If you somehow didn't know, this is a part of a larger series I've been doing for a while where I take FNAF's poopy official Funko plushies and remake them to remove the poopy. As always, it's best if you just go watch all the other episodes first, but hey, you're the harbinger of your own destiny. So far, we've tackled every FNAF game up to sister location, so, you know, that's the roster we're doing now. Well, actually 50% of it this time. This will be another half-seas situation, but you'll only have to wait like 2 months max for the next part, and this way I get to like pay rent this month. Also, here's a cool image of a skeleton on fire. Yeah, okay. There it is. So, the Funtimes. Thankfully, coming from FNAF 4, I get to breathe a little as far as difficulty goes. Although they have more detail than, say, the animatronics from FNAF 1 and 2, these designs at least lend themselves better to plushies than these. Plus, no withering at all. I wept and kissed the ground when I realized this. That being said, they aren't without their own newly introduced challenges. For instance, you may be wondering about that whole opening faceplate thing. How are we going to adapt this? Well, here's my Joker's trick. I'm not going to. I've had a lot of people recommend that I give them removable faceplates or just like separate faceplate opened alts for each character, similar to those sister location mystery minis. But although that sort of thing may work for a rigid plastic figure, this is just not going to look good on a plushie. I'm sure if I really hunkered down and spent way more time on it than it's really worth, I could figure out some sort of Velcro face flap situation, but like, who really wants that? I've never had the desire to rip the face off a plushie before, and this game certainly doesn't change that. Although, this guy's looking at me kind of funny. Hey! Yeah, that's what I thought. That being said, this element of their design won't go completely underrepresented on these plushies, because these designs still have all those seams and lines on their face when the faceplates are closed. To simplify this detail, I'm going to make sure each of the Funtimes have a darkish stitch line running across the middle of their faces, as this specific seam seems to be shared between all of them. It would add way too much ugly clutter to try and include every individual line on their face this way, hence the use of just the one. Another decision I made that's worth mentioning is that for characters like Funtime Freddy, Foxy, Lulbit, and Chica, yes, I'm including Funtime Chica with the rest of the sister location bunch, I'm going to go back to the classic mouth-closed look we did for the OGs and the toys. The reason we had them opened for the Withers and Nightmares and such was to differentiate them from the FNAF 1 bunch a bit more, on top of the fact that it's a fun way to give them that slightly more monstrous, broken-down look those characters have. These guys, though, harken back more to that FNAF 2 toy look with the somewhat cuter, colorful vibe, so having a connection between these two sets of plushies makes sense. Alright, let's jump into our first character. Oh no, I meant like figurative. Oh, they got one. I wasn't quick enough.
We gotta find the princess! and you gotta help us.
Yeah, so obscure fact here. Did you know that Funko's sister location plushies are big old shitters? Oh, no, not as bad as you. You're not losing that crown. Don't get it twisted. Oh, look at me go. Yeah, Funko's FNAF 4 plushies are bad, but these are on a whole other level. Like, in the Nightmares case, you could argue that they did their job somewhat right. Like, the Nightmares are supposed to look messed up, but these aren't. And they do. I think this wave was Funko's FNAF plushies at their cheapest. For some reason, they started replacing a lot of previously stitched-on elements with printed-on colors, including entire portions that would have just been stitched fabric before. Like, come on, what was the point of making Foxy's snout printed here? You literally did this with the regular stitched-in fabric in this exact same way and color before. Surprisingly, though, Baby escaped a lot of this new printed-on weirdness and kept the regular colored fabric and stitched-on detailing, which makes her the best of this wave kind of by default. Hey, she doesn't look puked on. A win is a win, right? Despite this, though, out of all the characters in this wave, I'd say she somehow ends up looking the least like her in-game design. For some reason, she got shrimpified here. It's really silly looking. She at least fits her name more than the original, though. Like, that is definitely a Circus Baby if I've ever seen one. It seems like Funko used the same body type as their Balloon Boy, with these flat Stanley-ass proportions and giant rectangular head. Unlike that Balloon Boy plush, however, this is one of those bad plushies that kind of wraps back around to being cute for me. She may look strange and inaccurate, but like, look at her. She's so kind, so polite. This one is up there with Toy and Spring Bonnie in that regard. I love this strange little critter. Despite this, she fails pretty hard at being an accurate Five Nights at Freddy's sister location Circus Baby plush. Alright, let's bring her in. This is my design. As you can see, she's been de-shrimped with a chubby body closer to our default shape. She's been given some simplified facial features reminiscent of our Balloon Boys, with this cutesy little nose and stitched-on mouth, which helps in converting that in-game uncanny look into something more adorable. Her hair has been simplified down as well, with her two large pigtails now made to look more chunky and cartoonish. It just helps with the whole chibified look. As we discussed earlier on, most of the crazy seams all over her face and body have been removed, aside from the single thick one running down her face, which still allows her to maintain the Funtime look without too much ugly detail. She's got her frilly skirt and shoulders, which are both a thinner, wavy cloth this time instead of the big, thick skirt Funko's has. I don't know what the point of that was. Thinner cloth just makes more sense here. And she's got her little stomach fan thingy, which is half obscured by her shirt due to the lack of room on her torso here. I think it looks cute though. It's like a baby's belly button or something. All of that with these accurate colors makes for a great Circus Baby plush, in my opinion. This one was surprisingly pretty simple, and now that we've figured out the basics of the Funtimes, the rest of them should be pretty simple as well, I hope.
Eating the Bidybabs. This one just makes me feel kinda sick.
Bidybab does not, in fact, have an official Funko plushie, and that's probably because, if he did, it would be the first Funko plushie ever to sell 0 copies. However, under the eyes of Bizabizow, no FNAF animatronic is too ugly for a plush. For our Bidybab, we're going to reference our Balloon Boy plush even more this time, which makes sense. They have a lot of facial similarities. I love that one theory, by the way, that Balloon Boy and JJ were originally from Circus Baby's Pizza World. I always thought that one made a lot of sense. Okay, I'll just go ahead and show him and explain. Just like Baby, Bidybab's got the usual base body shape, just a little thinner here, with the little breastplate thing added to the chest. The head is super round this time though, with the weird dome helmet looking thing giving it this shape. And whoa, look at those ears! Hi, gay little monkey from the Apple Store. These are just our default Freddy ears, cut down to Bidybab's ear shape and thrown on the sides to act more as human ears. Everything else is pretty straightforward. The triangle nose, the stitched on mouth and lip thing, the single white button, all the Bidybab classics are here. Not their edibility, though. I'm sorry. And that's all for this one. Pretty standard. Alright, time to move on to Funtime Freddy. Wait, what's that? There's a Bidybab recolor I have to do as well. Oh god, our plushie sales are in the negatives now. Oh no. This animatronic isn't actually a full-on recolor in the game. It's clearly just the regular Bidybab model with glowing yellow eyes instead of the regular purple ones, but come on, we gotta do more than that, right? Instead, I've opted for this. I've recolored his body with these blues, but kept his eyes bright white and yellow to make it look like he's constantly in that dark room lighting, with lit up glowing eyes. This is meant to resemble his custom night render here that has a similar color scheme going on. There are a lot of other promotional renders for this game with very similar dark blue lighting. So hey, that's perfect. Very thematic. This is still Electrobab though, so yeah, another one for the misfit pile. This is what happens when you promise something silly, like making a plush for every single FNAF animatronic, or something stupid like that. Funtime Freddy. This poor son of a bitch got the absolute worst plush out of this Funko wave. It's so bad. Like, okay, obviously this bonbon on his arm is awful. He looks like a weird little gummy shark with a face and ears, some real homunculus type shit. But bonbon is a difficult element to incorporate on a plush. I get why he turned out that way. Funtime Freddy himself, though? What happened, y'all? This is when they started the printed fabric stuff I mentioned earlier. His snout, cheeks, ears, stomach, and of course the entirety of Bonbon are all colored this way, and you can totally tell with how crackly and flat it all looks. I don't know if this was all a cost-saving measure or something, but if it wasn't, I literally don't know what the point was here. Just use the stitching you've used plenty of times before. What was stopping you? The worst part, though, are the eyes. Why are they square? What? My best guess as to why this happened is that they looked at some weird specific render or piece of fan art or something where the eyes looked just a bit rectangular and an assumption was made because of that. But if that exists out there, I certainly haven't found it. In every single render and drawing of this guy, they're always very clearly round. I don't know. He was just born like that, I guess. Now, although the whole bonbon element is going to be difficult, we can definitely improve on this. Many could. But before we do that though, hi! Just wanted to let y'all know that this video was watched a day early by my patrons on my Patreon server. Yeah, I have one of those, if you didn't know, and I do early viewings there sometimes. $2 a month gets you in there, 17 plus only, where you can chat with other folks, see sneak peeks and art whips for videos, get the full resolution downloads for video art, and you get your name listed on screen at the end of my videos. $10 gets you all that, but your name read aloud instead. Looky there. If you enjoy my videos, this is an excellent way to support me directly. It helps a ton. Also, fun fact, if I reach my Patreon goal of $1,000 a month and stay there, I will read all of Homestuck for the first time on stream. Yeah, I'm serious. This is a promise I made recently, and I will actually do that. Will I regret this promise? Probably, but hey, we'll have to get there to see. As always, Patreon link is in the description. Thank you to everyone and anyone who has ever supported me on there. Anyway, back to Plushie. Alright, Funtime Freddy, get in here, come on. You may notice that there's an important element missing here, but don't worry, we'll get to that. The shape of his face was definitely the most important part to get right here. This Freddy has a pretty unique shape, with the snout, the cheeks, the long jaw, and the cleft chin all needing to be represented in a simplified manner. I think I did a pretty good job converting that into the plushie style. He's got his other landmark details, such as his pink eye rings, an actual ring shape this time, his rectangular nose, his purple cheeks, his striped hat, and he's even got that speaker that the Funtimes have. For this, I thought it would be fun to incorporate a sort of mesh texture, similar to that type that you often see on plush dog toys. It would give it that distinct speaker look, while also being a fun little tactile element. I'd definitely be rubbing his tummy speaker all the time for good luck. Of course though, this is just one half of the Funtime Freddy package. Let's get Bonbon in here too. This little guy is similar to our magnetic Freddle we had on Nightmare Freddy. He's just a little body with arms and a head, all with more simplified stitched on details as the small size would require. An adorable little fella for sure. But where should he go? Well, this is where I hit a bit of a road bump in the design process. This is a real toughie to figure out. You might be thinking, what do you mean? Just stick him to the end of his hand like he's supposed to be. But if you were to do that on this plush as is, Bon Bon would be at a really strange angle, just kind of sticking out down there. This is why Funko's made Freddy's right arm turned upright, so Bon Bon could be sitting at a normal angle. However, on theirs, he is stitched on that way. Bon Bon is a permanent fixture of Freddy. He lives there. So we could make Freddy's arm turned upward as well and just have the magnetic bond stickable there, which looks fine when he's on there, but when you take him off, Freddy is just kind of stuck with his arm up forever mid-wave. I tried to think of ways to solve this issue, like maybe having an entirely separate swappable upright arm so you can have Bon on or off without it looking weird either way, but that is way too complicated for this type of plush. That sort of thing would work on, say, the Hex plushies, for instance. Their shape is built with the swappable and movable limbs in mind from the get-go. The chubby body we've been using this entire time, though, isn't, so it just wouldn't work that well. This is the solution I eventually came to, and by that I mean solutions. I have two separate options I'm pitching to you here. Which one is better? That's for all of you to decide in the comments. Let me know which one you personally prefer. So, option 1 is having Freddy's arm permanently upright. Bon Bon will still be magnetically attached, but unless you want the perma wave, you should probably just have him on there at all times. What's the point of him being magnetic then, you may ask? Like, might as well have him permanently stitched on at that point, right? Well, consider this. A swappable bonnet. Yeah, he comes with both, so you can stick whichever one on there that you like. Sweet. Option 2 is a bit simpler, but I personally think it looks better. Freddy's arm is permanently down in the normal plushie pose, and instead of Bon Bon being in the hand puppet formation, he gets to just kind of chill out on his shoulder like we did with the Nightmare Freddy's Freddle. And yeah, he still comes with bonnet to swap out if you so please. So go vote now in the comments. You're not actually voting here, I'm just gonna kind of like eyeball the comments and see which answer I get more. True democracy at work. They should hire me to decide elections. This was definitely the most difficult out of this bunch. Bon Bon was a tough nut to crack, but hey, I came out the other side with something. 2 possible somethings. So there's Funtime Freddy. Oh, what's wrong with the image? Whoa, this is the 4th time I've done this bit. Just here, look, I made Funtime Freddy's beta design just for fun. The one with the light pinks and a weirdly absurd amount of buttons, like just enough for it to be weird. You really did not need that many, man. All right, that's another completed.
I don't need a puppet to express myself. I already say whatever I want. But I am a fan of the medium, so... My father is withholding. Oh. It's interesting.
Now, you may be surprised to hear that Bonnet has an official Funko plush, but Bon Bon does not for some reason. I mean, he's here on Freddy, so maybe they thought that counted on its own. There were images floating around at one point of a supposed Bon Bon prototype plush, but like... Okay. What shitty Bon Bon plush is lost media. In my opinion, though, whichever one they went with would be a strange choice for a plush anyway, at least given the constraints of their plushie line, because as you can see, neither of them have a conventional shape. This is why we ended up with the plush FNAF Weeble Wobble here. If you're gonna try and make a standard plush of a character without legs, there's really nothing you can do aside from just taking the standard plush body and chopping off its legs, and that looks real strange sat next to the others. How can I fix this problem, though? Wouldn't my version just be like the exact same thing, but with a better face? I very well could do that, but that would look dumb and bad, so I'm not going to. There's really no point in trying to force these 2 unconventional character designs into a shape that they're not meant for, so Bon Bon and Bonnet aren't getting plushies in my hypothetical plushie line I've been building up here. However, I'm doing something else for them on the side as a fun little exception. This something is what, in my opinion, Funko should have just done from the very beginning instead of whatever this was. And that is... hand puppets. Oh my god, why didn't she just make hand puppets? Like, that's so obvious, right? Little plush hand puppets are manufactured and sold all the time as toys. I have one of my son right here. This was a very easy thing they could have done. In fact, Funko actually did make 2 FNAF hand puppets, not of the 2 literal hand puppet characters, mind you, but of Toy Freddy and Toy Bonnie. I don't really know. This is beyond my comprehension. So you know what? I'll make them. I'll make your damn hand puppets. Here, here's Bon Bon. He's got a mouth he can flap and arms he can wiggle, all done with groundbreaking hand technology. And look at his funny teeth and silly eyes. I don't know, I don't have much to explain for this one. I done drawed him as a puppet. That's all I need to say. Oh right, and here's Bonnet as well. Buy both and have them talk to each other. Make them kiss sloppy style, I can't stop you. Future editing Ty here. After I recorded voiceover for this video and started editing, Dawko revealed Hex's Bonbon hand puppet. So, we're gonna have an official one now. Yippee. I just wanted to throw that in here real quick. All right, that leaves us with one more animatronic for this video. Buckle up, cause he's wild. He's crazy.
They burned me in a scary fire.
Here's another one of those weirdo characters that probably wouldn't have had enough demand to warrant an official plushie, hence why there is not one. There's at least like one diehard Yenndo fan out there that's absolutely heartbroken over that fact though, and you know what? Whoever you are, wherever you are, this is for you. Although not quite as difficult to figure out as Funtime Freddy's Bonbon Dilemma, this one did indeed require some time in the thinking chamber. If you haven't noticed, Yenndo is essentially just Freddy if he was made almost entirely out of wires. Not to be confused with the other two characters that fit that exact description, of course. This means we have a lot of absurd detail to simplify in an appealing way, which is a tough task. We've done it with the other two Yendos though, so definitely doable here. Here's my final design. Since Yenndo is pretty much the same shape as Funtime Freddy, just in a wiry form, I went with our regular old plushie shape, just using color and stitching to get across the visual vibe we're going for. I suppose something like Crochet could get that vibe across too, which is actually something I considered utilizing for this design, given the unique circumstances, but upon further research, Crochet is not something that can be mass-produced, at least ethically. So yeah, not something that could be reasonably expected of a plushie company. Or at least shouldn't be. Looking at this design, you can see that the mass of Yendow's wire makeup can be split into their own layered chunks, like these angled ones on his head here and this circle on his chest. I decided to use these as a basis for how I'd simplify all these lines, especially on his head. I used slightly darker and lighter shades of fabric to section off those areas with the help of some thicker seams to add more defined separation on a couple of spots. His body though, aside from the distinct lighter circle here, is pretty much just a bunch of little thinner seams to aid in that almost spiderweb look he's got going on. After all that though, the rest was just a matter of adding all the little details from his model, like his yellow eyes, black cheek circles, unique ears, and very small top hat. I like to imagine it's covering an equally small bump on the top of his head like he's a cartoon character. All of this comes together to form a plush I'm surprisingly proud of. Like, this just might be my favorite of this batch so far. I don't know why, didn't expect that of Yenndo of all characters. So yeah, he's done. And with that, we're about halfway through Sister Location. I love these ones. The Funtimes are super satisfying to work with. They translate to plushie form very nicely with minor hiccups. At least so far. In the next episode, which like I said will be my next video, we'll move on to these guys. Sorry, theys. I forgot Freddy's was woke now. As always, be sure to let me know if you liked it, which one is your favorite, all that stuff. And, you know, subscribe and like. And oh fuck, no.
Hey.
Oh, Andiematronic, is that you?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, how, you doing okay?
No.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd like to thank my Skrunklies over on Patreon. Thank you for supporting me. Prism, April B, Creative JK, Adelaide Parade, Soy Sauce Flavored Tide Pod, Chico Mode, Pew Oliver, Fred Shrooms, Blargan Snorf, Rubbish Bunny, Siderian, Awesome Ace Z, Xeno Dude Face, Lilith Swartzlander, Zayseer, Dominic, Fedco, Sledmasters, Certainly Cecilia, The Papini Bros Emporium, Rainbow Wave, Cat Does a Thing, Tawoji, Jurgen the Bull, Juliet with a Handgun, Skillemalink, Kongmin, Battle Axolotl, Jupe Tube, Fiku and Beans, Mallow, Bubblegum Bitch, Mary Fairy Quite Contrary, Armadio, Best BA Player Italy, Isakers, and BC Warfare. If you'd like to join these wonderful folks, you can check out my Patreon in the link in the description. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and peace out.
Hello guys, it's me, Freddy Fazbear. I'm just doing a cameo for my friend Bizabizowchannel.